I personally only buy collectible gold. That's not true for silver, but it is for gold because I believe that desperate governments do desperate things, and this country and many other countries have a history of confiscation. You
Hmm.
know, they've been robbing you your entire life. I find it really hard to believe that right at the end, when they're getting it, they're going to go, we got enough. No, they've spent it. They want everything. But what the guys that write the laws do is they make sure that those laws support themselves.
Hmm.
So I was quite fortunate that I had my uncle Al, who was a high end antique dealer.
Hmm.
And he was my favorite uncle. We had a very nice relationship. And one day, my parents and I were at his house. And he goes, "Come here, I want to show you something." So we go in the back bedroom, and he had these two tall floor safes. And he opened the doors and he said, "If anything should happen to me, Aunt Bertie will be well taken care of for the rest of her life because of what's in these safes." Now, I was 10 at the time. But hey, you make that statement, I'm turning around to look. And what I saw, I didn't really understand how much was in there, but
Hmm.
knowing what I know now, I would guess that he had at least 3,000 ounces of gold.
Wow.
Now, they were not slabbed like this because it was 1964,
Hmm.
but it was illegal to own more than 5 ounces of gold
Hmm.
in 1964. And here he had at least 3,000 ounces.
Right.
So, what I learned legally, because I also want the kind of gold that I can use in the normal marketplace to buy all of that property
Hmm.
when the time is right.
Right.
And you know, and so since I believe there's going to be a confiscation, and since this is the biggest bargain, you know, gold itself is a huge bargain.
Hmm.
But when you look at the asset classes, this is the absolute biggest bargain.
Hmm.
And you know, I just pulled these two graphs for a piece that I'm running, you know, tomorrow. So I pulled it on things that would be more like this, the gold coins that would be more like this. And what I see technically is we're coming to conclusion on a cup formation, which is an accumulation pattern and
Hmm.
a very powerful one. But when I pulled up the rarities, so the ones that there are even fewer of,
Hmm.
I mean, you've got a cup there, but at a much higher level. So you can see what the wealthy are doing for themselves.
Hmm.
Okay. I believe that you should do what the smartest person in the room on any given topic is doing for themselves. So I'm always looking at that kind of thing.
Hmm.
So, and it also kind of works like this. You go to, but you need a diversified portfolio. No matter what I'm saying here, even within precious metals, it needs to be diversified. But let's say we go to an auction and
Hmm.
there are 10 people at this auction and there's 10 coins on the table and everybody wants one. So wherever the bidding opens up, that's what they're going to pay and they'll
Hmm.
walk away happy. But you have one coin and everybody wants that. So now he or she who's willing to pay the most for that coin gets it, but you still have 9 other people that wanted it,
Hmm.
right? And there ain't no fever like gold fever, let me tell you. So, again, you know, and the premiums on these coins are they're not as low as I've recently seen them, but they're
Hmm.
still substantially below the historic norm.
Hmm.
So gold is the biggest bargain, and so is silver. Gold and silver physical are the biggest bargains, but even more than that, the collectible coins are, and you're not paying very big premium.
Hmm.
But
And then
it'll depend. I mean, it all depends.
yeah, and then kind of going back to that example, I think another example you made was like about how easy they're to travel with, and also going back to the truckloads of silver compared to a box of gold on transferability. Now, if that box of gold becomes collectible, so instead of one box, and maybe half box. So really, if the purpose was try to transfer to hide it somewhere, moving somewhere with them really mobily. So that's kind of like the purpose of holding the collectible. So perhaps for folks who's kind of building their portfolio, I'm just kind of making the conclusion here. If let me know if you disagree. It's like if you only have a certain amount of cash that's sitting on the side, perhaps you have to take care of what your needs are first, the preservation of wealth, or just the immediate usage of that. So perhaps like getting into silver a little bit more is a primary thing. But once you kind of go beyond that portfolio analysis and say, okay, there's like a bucket that you have enough cash sitting aside or enough other assets that you're going to transfer, for example, stocks and whatnot. Then you take care of your needs and what is caught, like what you needed to pay your regular bills. And then the leftovers now perhaps will be great to get into, I don't know, the common gold or maybe the collectible gold, maybe diversify between that. Is that kind of how I should be thinking about that? And then if you're really wealthy, you really care about, or if you really care about mobility, then the collectible gold should definitely be part of the portfolio.
You know, I think you can't really make like a blanket statement.
Mhm,
What you always want to start with is what you're trying to accomplish. You
mhm,
want to protect this, you want to make sure you can sustain your standard of living, and you want to be in a position to take advantage of the wealth transfer.
mm,
And then beyond that, like for me, when I'm talking about the rarities, so this may or not be important to you, but
mhm,
I have children and grandchildren, so leaving a legacy or dynastic wealth is
mhm,
very important to me. So I can't say that I go to one place. I
mhm.
say that I look at the whole picture, and then based on the individual, I would probably, I mean, and again, it depends on if you have $1,000 to work with, well, this is what you're doing, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
But if you have, I don't know,
$1 million.
25, well, if
Yeah.
you have 1 million, then you're doing like everything,
Yeah.
really. And, dynastic wealth is wealth that lasts in families at least 300 years. And you can kind of think about the Queen of England,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, she gets tax money, so she gets that. But
Yeah.
what does she have? She has rare collectibles, she's got real estate, and she's got gold.
Right.
So
Yeah.
why not you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Why
Yeah.
not? So I it really does depend on what you're trying to accomplish. That
Mm-hmm.
always has to be where you start, because
Yeah.
then you're going to build it, even if you can't do it all at once. Then once you lay all of that out, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's the importance of having a plan,
Mm-hmm.
so that you're not just kind of going, well, ping here and ping there. It's like, okay, here's everything laid out. Now, what do we need to do? What's most important to you? And then you just kind of start filling those holes. And I wouldn't wait very long, to
Yeah.
be honest with you.